Welcome to your July prediction. So we're shuffling on camera today. We're also going to be getting specific career and love messages for the month of July. So I'm going to be a little bit more organized than I was for the June reading, but let's go ahead and get into it. So your first cards are actually just going to be a general overview, and then we'll get into the more specific messages. Okay, group one, a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group one, and we're doing all uprights today. Okay, the Ten of Cups, so you're winning. You are winning. So July is going to be a really good month for you. We've got the Devil card here. Don't worry about that. We have the World. I think maybe let's do 2 more cards and then we'll get your bottom of the deck. Oh wow, we have the Lovers, we have the Page of Cups, and your bottom of the deck is Judgment. Oh, I love this so much. I love this so much. And I'm also seeing the King of Cups here as well. So this could be you. You know, you could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, or this could be someone that you're interested in during the month of July, someone who plays a significant role. It'll definitely be someone who's more masculine presenting, someone who's emotionally intelligent. I love this King of Cups, and I always say that in this deck. I don't know what it is. It's something about the way they've drawn the eyes here, but it just seems like such a sweet, sweet energy with this King of Cups. I don't know. It's just a very adorable kind of dynamic with this King of Cups. So whoever this is someone who makes you feel all warm and cozy, okay? Someone who feels like home. Okay. So with the Ten of Cups, the Devil, the Lovers, the World, we've got the Page of Cups and Judgment. This is going to be a very different month than I think what you're used to. With this Devil card here, I feel like there was something you released yourself from, and it could have been something mentally. You know, you had some sort of self-limiting belief, like a mental block that was holding you back. For others of you, it could have been a toxic friendship, an unhealthy romantic connection. It could have been that you just weren't happy with like your general life circumstances, so you started to make some changes in your habits, your daily routine, because the Devil, as always, talks about whatever we're willingly sort of chaining ourselves to, right? It's the card of addiction. It's the card of unhealthy relationships, right? But the thing with the Devil card, when it comes out, is trying to show you, right, like what needs to be changed. However, for you all, given the context of like the rest of your cards, I feel like this is maybe an energy that's still lingering in your subconscious, but you've gotten rid of the actual block. So, for example, if this was an unhealthy romantic partnership, you know, sort of a dead-end relationship that wasn't going anywhere, that wasn't really serving you, you could have cut that out, you could have ended it, but still in the back of your mind, maybe there are some trust issues still. Maybe there are some feelings of insecurity, right? Like what made that relationship unhealthy? And so maybe you still have some of that emotional baggage left over. This could be like you were in a bad workplace environment that gave you like imposter syndrome and made you feel really insecure. And so now you have this like feeling that you're incompetent when you're not, right? And so then that could affect you in your future job. So I feel like some of this is still lingering in your subconscious, but you're working through it. You're definitely working through it. And you deserve a break. You know, with the Judgment card here, this is answering the call of your soul, right? So like your soul has sort of helped you get to this point. So it's helped you get to this place of like, okay, I've released the physical barrier. So whatever, you know, was in your physical life that was holding you back, you've released that. But I think for some of you, it's still lingering in your subconscious. And just take what resonates, right? Like maybe this hasn't quite happened for some of you yet. And maybe others of you are like, yes, this is exactly right now what's going on for me. So, you know, the timeline might be a little bit different for each of you. But with the Judgment card here, you're getting what you deserve in a good way, in a good way, in a good way. And I say that because you have the 10 of Cups and you have the World card. So there's definitely something happening for you that's going to feel very emotionally fulfilling, that I think is going to help you work through some of those wounds or some of that hurt that's still lingering in your subconscious. It's going to help you work through it. And you're choosing yourself. Now with the Lovers, the Page of Cups, the 10 of Cups, for some of you, this could be like a romantic partnership type of deal. And don't worry, we're going to get specific love oracle messages here. But if this is referring to love for you, this would be, I mean, especially with the Judgment card, this could be you meeting or getting into a relationship or getting to know a romantic partner or a potential romantic partner that is a soulmate connection. I mean, the Lovers and Judgment, like you got to be kidding me, right? Like, and even with the Page of Cups, I mean, that could be hinting, because I know we don't have the 6 of Cups here, but it's making me feel like this is someone that you feel very safe with. This is someone that you can have a lot of fun with, but it's also someone that kind of brings you back. I'm hearing like an emotionally clean slate for some of you. Like, if you think back to when you were a kid, like before you had a real concept of what heartbreak looks like, right? And that's a more specific message, but it did come through. So yeah, for some of you, this is talking about new love. For others of you, this is talking about a deepening of an existing bond. Could be that King of Cups we were referring to. But with the World card here, it's like, okay, we've closed out one chapter and now we're starting another, and we're on the right path, and it feels very positive. It feels very good. And yeah, like I said, the only thing, you know, that is still there, I think, is just that mental, emotional baggage that you're carrying around. And so at any point in time, you could release it, right? But it's going to be, you know, a little bit of a healing process. And honestly, I know that people like to say, you know, you can't you can't love anyone else unless you love yourself. And I mean, yes, like our relationships with ourselves are our most important ones, right? There's never going to be a more important relationship in your life than the one you have with yourself. However, I also think there's something to be said for learning through other people, growing with someone else, and other people can teach us a lot, right? You can only get so far on your own. And so I do think that if this is referring to a romantic connection and may not be for all of you, for some of you it could be referring to your career, because the Devil is associated with Capricorn and the 10th house. So if this is a career message, that's okay as well. We'll get messages about that. But yeah, if this is a love connection that we're referring to here, this could definitely be one that is very healing for you, okay? And I mean, every time we talk about a soulmate connection, we talk about mirroring, right? So this may not just be your energy, this could also be the energy of that romantic partner, that crush, okay? That new love interest. Okay. So let's go ahead and get your 2 major themes for the month of July. And if this is loud, I'm sorry. All right, group 1. 2 major themes. Okay, we have victory. Not surprised to see that given the world card. I mean, this literally is like a victory lap right here. You feel like you've won something. So I definitely feel like it's a month for self-confidence as well. And you may surprise yourself at how well you do at something. Yeah, inspiration. I'm hearing like you have a new lease on life. And so you're feeling a lot more inspired. And quite frankly, that could still apply to so many different areas of your life. I mean, new love is a very inspiring time, right? Starting a new career path, also a very inspiring, exciting time. And so whatever is going on here, regardless, because it's going to be a little bit different for all of you, right? But I think regardless, you have almost like you're looking at life again with fresh eyes. Like if you've been feeling jaded, if you've been feeling like, what's the point? I'm tired of trying at something. It's like in that final hour right before you're about to give up, you have your breakthrough. And that's what kind of like, you know how they say like inspiration strikes? That's what it feels like. It's like this aha moment. So if you've been like looking for a soulmate, looking for a romantic partner, it's like, oh, there you are. You know, it's like, it's completely unexpected and yet very expected. You know, it's like I've been praying, I've been wishing, I've been hoping, I've been trying. And then right when I'm about to give up, there you are. And for others of you, it could be that breakthrough moment, like if you've been looking for a new job for a really long time, or if you've been stuck in like a creative project, you know, whatever it is, it's like that aha moment. It's like right when I'm about to just toss in the towel and give up, there it is. Okay. We're going to get a few more general messages and then we're going to get more into specifics. Okay. We have bad dragon. We have summer dragon. And I believe this week is, you know, the start of summer depending upon where you live. So kind of cute that we have summer dragon coming out. And then we have something wild. Yeah, you're feeling a lot more free, a lot less restricted. And I think you're starting to recognize ways in which your ego, or again, like your subconscious mind, is sort of like coming up in ways that aren't really helpful. So there may be parts of you that like want to hide away, that want to protect yourself, that don't want to fully invest emotionally into whatever this is. Like, I don't want to get my hopes up. And things are going really well right now, but what if, and then that negative thought spiral can start. And it's like, you know, we can go down that road. Like we can go down the rabbit hole and think about all the things that could go wrong. Think about all the ways that our plans can be derailed. Think about all the ways that the past could potentially repeat itself. But what's the point? Like, how does that really benefit us? Can we really truly protect ourselves from ever getting our hearts broken again, or from ever being disappointed again, or or just like a fear of failure even? If you try to avoid that so much, you stop living, right? And so with the summer dragon, I feel like, you know what? It's time to put yourself out there. It's time to, I'm sorry, Gracie just snored. It was so cute. It's time to just put yourself back out there again. And at some point, you know, you just got to put it on the line and hope for the best. Because otherwise, you do end up holding yourself back. So you're being given an opportunity. And I think for some of you, this opportunity, you know, may already be in your life. For others of you, it will be coming during the month of July. But you're being given a chance to let go of the old and welcome in the new. And that fear of the past repeating itself, or that fear of you failing in some way, or not being good enough, or not being deserving enough, we have judgment here. This is meant for you. This is your opportunity. It doesn't matter, again, like whether it's career, love, personal, this is your opportunity. This was meant for you. This was made for you. So it's not going to hurt you whatsoever to really just go for it. And the Lovers is always about a choice as well, right? So you're being offered something. Page of Cups, you're being offered something that could really grow into something really beautiful. To have the Page of Cups and then the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Cups is complete emotional fulfillment. It's emotional bliss. It has a rainbow on it. It doesn't get much better than the Ten of Cups in terms of our heart being happy. So sometimes you just have to trust, right? And, you know, especially if this is talking about love with the Summer Dragon, you know, it's true. Like the sun, I'm getting like my messages a little bit twisted here. So the sun is all about revealing things, right? It shines a light on things, right? The moon is always mostly partially hidden, right? We don't always see every side of the moon. The sun illuminates, though. And so for anyone to ever truly love you, you have to first allow yourself to be seen, right? You have to open up. You can't have any form of like real, authentic love if you're not willing to risk getting your heart broken, if you're not willing to be vulnerable, if you're not willing to open up. Because otherwise, I mean, that person may be falling in love with you, but they're falling in love with a half-truth, right? Because they don't really know you. And they may just be falling in love with the idea of you or their preconceived notion of you. And that's not sustainable. That's not what you want. So you have to show who you really are. You have to show up as your authentic self. And even if it's, again, talking about some other area of your life, I mean, you can't be half in it, or it's never going to grow. And so, like, yes, this is the call of your soul, but you have to answer that call. Okay? All right. Enough like pep talk. So let's get some specific love messages, because I do think for a lot of you this is love. But again, it doesn't have to be. All right, group 1 love messages for July 2023. Stop it. I told you guys, soulmate. Okay, we have reunion. This card stands for a reunion with family and friends. There is a feeling of harmony and celebration. Significant people from your childhood and or past lives could be coming back into your life for a particular reason. This is always the soulmate reunion card for me. This is the card of soul family. So yeah, for a lot of you, this is a soulmate connection like we were discussing before. And then I do think just in general, it wouldn't hurt to make time for family and friends as well in the month of July. And it even says too, like, cause for celebration. I mean, you got the victory card. Like, that's why I said, like, you have this new lease on life. For sure. Oh yeah, see? We have, there are invisible walls around you preventing love from coming in. In order to experience love, you need to open yourself up and let your guard down. We were just talking about that, right? Like, the opportunity can knock on your door all day long, but you have to open up. You have to be emotionally vulnerable. You have to be open to the opportunity, right? Okay. We got getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. I'm not even going to keep repeating myself, okay? I think you guys get that message pretty clearly. We have let go of control issues. Allow this situation to unfold naturally. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck because I think so often, especially if this is talking about new love, there is, you know, like if you're an anxious person or if you're someone who's been hurt a lot, you can try to control in a way where you maybe exercise that over how much you open up. So maybe you're too controlled, or you overthink your responses to things, you hold back a lot, you're not really showing up as your authentic self, right? Because you're maybe second guessing yourself, or you're editing yourself, or you're trying to present yourself in a way that you think that other person will like. You know, people kind of do that, right? It doesn't work out. And then other times, you know, if you have anxiety, you might try to rush things, or you want a commitment too soon, or you feel, you know how people can sometimes get maybe like a bit codependent, or they feel really anxious if someone doesn't reply to a text within a certain time frame, or doesn't call back, or, you know, they have trust issues, so they question, like, is this person really into me? And it just makes them miserable at a time when, like, especially if this is new love, it should be exciting, it should be fun, it should be lighthearted, it should be enjoying the process of getting to know someone, building a solid foundation, maybe even developing a friendship during that period as well, and really connecting and seeing if it's a good fit for you, and not caring so much if they like you. Like, because I think sometimes people focus so much on that, like, does this person like me? Do you like them? Right? That's an important question too. Okay, so yeah, I think that if, you know, if there's a new type of romantic situation in your life in July, let it unfold naturally, like this says. Let it develop organically. Don't put arbitrary like time frames on it. Don't try to like overly assert what you need to the point to where you're making someone else uncomfortable, right? Like, it's a balance. Like, you want them to respect your boundaries, but you have to do the same for them too. It can't be, you know, all on your sort of timeline, right? And not to say all of you guys are doing that, or that, you know, that's going to be an issue, but for some of you, you know, especially since we were talking about having some emotional baggage, that could come up, okay? And then your final card is Make the Effort. And this card also always reminds me of the Six of Cups, because how sweet is this with the kids? So it says, great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. I mean, yeah. Like we were saying before, opportunity knocks. You have to be open to it. You have to do your part too. It can't be one-sided, or it will never turn into anything. Except maybe something really unhealthy and toxic and not what you want, right? Yeah. And this is going to be, I mean, a really good relationship. I mean, it's saying here, like, this is the one. Like, this is the person that's going to be worth the effort. Like, if you feel like your efforts have never been reciprocated in the past, this is someone who's going to be worth the effort. Yeah, and I think, again, you know, if you are feeling those anxious feelings, or, you know, you're just having some insecurities or some self-limiting beliefs, take some time to yourself, work through them, and then, you know, I think just be open with this person about where you're at. Because I think, you know, if this is as great of a love as these cards are making it out to be, especially if we're talking about someone who can be in their King of Cups energy. And remember, gender does not matter, okay? When we're referring to the King of Cups, it's just an energy that's, you know, tends towards masculine. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be understanding. And if you need some space, they'll give it to you, right? Okay. So let's get some career messages, and then we'll get some advice cards. So group 1, any career messages for group 1? Okay. Oh, wow. Look at that. I think maybe one more card. Let's see. So we have travel, your life purpose involves traveling. We have career change, you're embarking upon a change in your career that brings you the joy and abundance you desire and deserve. And we have sensitivity, you're becoming more sensitive and need to make changes accordingly. I think this sensitivity card honestly is just speaking to this idea that you are having that call of your soul, right? So when that happens, what is the universe doing? They're sending you signs and synchronicities. They are intervening in your life. They may be messing up some stuff for you to try to get you on the right course, right? Sometimes, I mean, I don't know why I'm hearing this, but it must be, there may be something that you perceive as going wrong in the month of July that is a blessing in disguise. Sometimes I feel like the universe will intervene in our life, and in that moment, it feels bad. It feels like, why is this happening to me? It feels like the worst luck ever. And then when you look back on it, you're like, oh, I see what they were trying to tell me, or oh, I see why that had to happen. And so it's just giving the energy of hindsight is 2020 here. But yeah, you're going to be getting a lot of signs and synchronicities. You're going to be noticing some odd occurrences, I think, in relation to your career. So, you know, for some of you, if you weren't resonating with those love messages, which by the way, if all of this is resonating, feel free to claim all of it. But yeah, I do think that there's going to be some odd happenings that are trying to help to ensure that you're understanding the path that your soul was meant to walk, okay? And for some of you, I mean, you are going to be changing your position. You are going to be changing your career. And that may be like you're doing something different within your current field, so it's not a total shift. For others of you, this could be a transition into something totally new. And if you've been contemplating that, you've been thinking about it or on the fence about it, I would say this is your green light, go. Okay. For others of you, this travel card, this could talk about you going to interviews. This could talk about you moving or thinking about relocating so that you can start a new job somewhere else. This could talk about a job opportunity that you end up having that, you know, requires you to move. Okay. And this could also talk about you just starting a job that involves travel. So I myself will be doing that this coming month because I'm going to be going back and working in hospice again, and that involves travel. So, you know, just take these messages as they resonate, okay? But I would say especially if you've been applying to jobs or you've been thinking about taking a job that is somewhere far away, I would say, yes, you are meant to do that, given that we have career change and travel here, okay? All right. And for some of you, this could talk about you staying in your current position, but you getting promoted to a position that involves travel. When I used to work at the substance use clinic, my program director got promoted to regional director. So instead of just being at her home clinic, then she had to travel and sort of make sure all the clinics within the region were operating as they were meant to. So it could be something like that as well. Okay, that's obviously a much more specific message and may only resonate for like one or two of you, okay? All right, so let's get some cute little fairy cards. So some of these may be advice. Some of these just may shed some more light on what's happening for you in July. Gracie is just snoring away. Like, she's been on her hammock all day. I'll try to put some pictures. I'll link them in the description box so you guys can see her in her hammock. It's so cute. Okay, group 1, July 2023, please, Spirit. What do we need to know? We've got hidden depths. Something hidden is about to come to light, perhaps a secret or a memory at the back of your mind. When we expose what's hidden, we are becoming free. Okay, I love this so much for you, group 1. You got the Devil card. Then you got the Something Wild card. Then you got Summer Dragon, and we were talking about the sun and illumination. I think what is being revealed to you, and especially if this is a love thing for, you know, any of you watching, I think that that new person is going to show you some things about yourself that need to be healed, some things that maybe you thought you were past. And I think that they're gonna sort of hold your hand through that process, okay? Like, it feels like a very supportive, nurturing kind of thing here, okay? But yeah, and like I said, I think through our relationships with other people, we also come to know ourselves more deeply as well, okay? And I think with hidden depths as well, some of you just could be surprising yourself at how much you can achieve and how much you are limiting yourself, holding yourself back. We have the light card. Again, with the illumination. The Fairy Queen of Light comes in to shed love and light onto your current situation and to remind you that light can penetrate the darkness. Yes, like I felt like y'all were in this energy of just feeling so jaded, so like, oh, I'm ready to give up. And it's like in that final hour, it's like you have that breakthrough. And group 1, I'm so happy for you because that's beautiful. And inspiration again. Remember, that was a major theme for you, and now we have it repeating. It says, be prepared, as you'll soon receive a visit from the Fairy of Inspiration. Come dusk or dawn, she can call at any time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, inspiration strikes, and so it may be a new person in your life that is very inspiring to you. It may be a new job opportunity. It may be both. It could be an idea for a creative project, but I think, again, like you're having this new lease on life, and you deserve it. I feel like for some of you, maybe it's been a hard couple months. For some of you, maybe it's been a hard couple years, but it feels like, okay, like it's my time to shine now. And your bottom of the deck is Inner Child. And I'm not surprised to see this either, given that we had the Page of Cups. We have the Make the Effort card with the children there. So there's a lot of repeating themes in your reading. And I feel like Spirit always does that, especially if you're someone who's anxious, or if you're someone who needs a lot of reassurance, or you're someone who maybe, I mean, you're even a little bit iffy about tarot readings, or this could be, hey, for some of you, your first tarot reading ever. But I think when Spirit does this, it's because it's something really big, and it's something that you thought wasn't going to happen for you, or something that you had given up on entirely, and it's knocking at your door now. And now that it's finally here, a part of you doesn't trust that. Okay? And so this is Spirit just saying, don't hold yourself back. Don't hold yourself back. I wasn't going to do this, but why don't we get the Astro Dice out and we'll just get some final messages, and then we'll use this cute little Secret Garden deck as well. Group 1, we have Wallflower. Look for the crack in the concrete to find your way out. Darkest before the dawn, right? We've got Change. As with the falling leaves, embrace change. Yeah, I mean, it's a pivotal month for sure. And we have Joy. Make time for the little things today. Yeah, I mean, open yourself back up to being happy. Let yourself, now I'm seeing potential at the bottom. It says the littlest key can open the heaviest door. Yeah, I mean, you have so much more potential than you're giving yourself credit for. And I think also if this is talking about love, there's real potential here for this to grow. Again, Page of Cups to 10 of Cups. And then give yourself permission to just be happy, to lean into the present moment and not be so worried about what's going to happen 6 months from now, what's going to happen a year from now. Just go with the flow. Go with the flow. Embrace change and embrace the idea that you are being divinely guided and that it's okay. And that if this is a new person coming into your life, they were meant to be here. It was meant to happen. And if this is a new job opportunity, you were meant to take it. Right? So it's all happening for a reason. Okay. So I do think there's definitely a theme of hope coming through for your reading as well. So let's see some possible zodiac signs. So we already got, with the King of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Let's just see what other signs you could be interacting a lot with in the month of July. I almost said June. Okay, group 1. All right, so we have Gemini here. So 2 things. This could be talking about a Gemini or someone who has significant Gemini placements in their birth chart. It could also be echoing that Lovers card and the idea that this is going to be a soulmate connection. So it could be telling us multiple things. Let's get another potential sign. Okay, now we have Scorpio. So that's Scorpio confirmed twice now. And we'll get one more. Okay, and now we have Aries energy coming through. So kind of a mixed bag there. And I will say too, like if any of the signs don't resonate, don't focus too much on that because there is a lot of you watching. Okay, now we'll get, I think I'm just going to get one house for you. So we'll see which areas of your life, or which area of your life, I should say, that's going to be the most significant for you in July. The first house. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this, remember how I was saying the most important relationship you'll ever have is your connection to yourself? That is, I think, a focal point of July for you. And so whether it's through a new job opportunity, a relocation, a new love interest, you are growing as a result of that in your self-development. And that's a big deal for the month of July. Okay. So group 1, this was your reading. I hope it resonated. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in my next one. Welcome to your July prediction. So we're going to be shuffling on camera today. We're going to be a little bit more organized than we typically are. So we're going to get just general overview messages. Then we'll get love messages, career messages, some advice for you for the month of July. And then I think we'll probably end up using the Astro Dice too at the end. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Group 2, general overview for July 2023. A big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. So your deck isn't giving us any cards yet. Okay, we get the 5 of Wands. Sometimes, you know, when the deck starts to behave like that, it always makes me think, is there something you're not really supposed to know for the month of July? Is there supposed to be some kind of surprise coming at you? Well, I mean, we have the Ace of Wands now. Okay, so a lot of fire energy to start. Let's see what else we have. Ooh, 7 of Swords. Okay. It's not looking great. Hold on. 5 of Wands, Ace of Wands, 7 of Swords. Okay, the Star. Now we have some good energy coming in. Don't get me wrong, the Ace of Wands is very positive, but that 7 of Swords is worrying me a bit. So let's just see. Can we clarify the Seven of Swords, please, Spirit? Maybe it's not bad, but let's just see. The Seven of Swords, you know, it's a yucky energy. I mean, there's just no other way of putting it. I mean, the card serves its function in the deck. And, you know, it's like a necessary evil kind of card. So the Seven of Swords can talk about someone going behind your back, someone lying to you, someone betraying you, someone being essentially like very self-serving to the point to where it harms you and they don't really care that they're hurting you. But let's just see, let's clarify. You see how the cards are not coming out very quickly? And that doesn't typically happen with this deck. This is a fairly easy to use deck. Oh, okay, interesting. Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers. This is making a lot more sense now. Okay, bottom of the deck we have the Nine of Swords. And I do want to clarify this Five of Wands, and then I'll get into your messages, okay? I know, like, the suspense. If I can, I'll cut out some of this shuffling because it's just taking a while, and there's no use in, like, you going back and watching this, or you guys watching this in real time and then being on pins and needles, you know? So I'll probably cut out some of that shuffling. Okay, that's too many cards. I just want one card to clarify this Five of Wands, please, Spirit. There we go, Princess of Cups. Okay. All right. So it's not all bad, but it's honestly such a specific message that if this isn't resonating, this is really one of those readings where it just probably isn't your message, and you know, maybe just choose another group because it's so specific. There are two different ways that I can read it though. So I'm going to say the first way that the cards are coming to me, and then I'll say the second. And if neither of those messages are clicking, then, I mean, really choose another group. Or maybe this just isn't your reading for July, but it's very specific. So with this Five of Wands, especially with the way it's depicted here in this particular deck, because I didn't use this deck for any other group, the Five of Wands next to this Ace of Wands, usually the Ace of Wands is like a blessing, right? But this Five of Wands, it's like she's throwing it like, what are they, like ninja stars? Like the way that she's throwing it, it feels like an attack. And the Five of Wands is usually a card that talks about conflict, that talks about competition, petty arguments, discord, all of that. And then you have the Princess of Cups clarifying it. So there's someone in the month of July that's being really emotionally immature. And someone who I feel like is comparing themselves to you and is almost in like a competition with you, but they are the only one competing. You know, like it's all in their head, you know, like they have, you know, compared themselves to you, and that has caused some like jealousy, some envy, and, you know, I think they may be projecting that outward, and yeah, it feels like they're kind of like, you know, how someone can like smile in your face, but really, you know, when something bad happens to you, they're secretly happy about it. But they're happy about it because it makes them feel better about what's going on in their life. And so it's not necessarily like they hate you or anything like that. And they may not even be like consciously aware that they're doing this. But it's more like, I don't want to see you doing bad. I just don't want to see you doing better than me, because I'm not really happy with where I'm at right now. And when you're doing really well, that triggers something within me. And then they may project that outward and even kind of try to flip the script and say that you're doing this to them, or you're trying to make them feel bad, or, you know, whatever. But yeah, it feels like some of you guys have maybe like a frenemy type of thing, or you just have someone who isn't really, doesn't really have your best interests at heart, okay? And I think that for some of you, this is because your love life, especially with the Lovers and the Wheel of Fortune and the Star, your love life could be going really well, and this is what is provoking this jealousy within this person. Like, they wish that they had met, a great partner the way that you have met a great partner. For others of you, it could be talking about like you having the guts to make a really big choice for yourself and to start kind of like a new adventure, and it's kind of like an unexpected opportunity that comes your way and you have to make a big choice about it, and they're sitting over there kind of jealous that they don't have that same tenacity, they don't have that same bravery, they don't have that same even if like they wanted that opportunity but it was given to you kind of deal. But I feel like honestly you're kind of oblivious to this. I feel like with the Nine of Swords, like you're having your own anxieties, because even when things are going really well, it can still provoke a sense of like, okay, but when is the other shoe going to drop? I was just talking about this on the phone with my friend. I was like, things are going so well in my life very suddenly, and things were just like a couple of weeks ago going like pretty poorly. And so like when there's like a sudden change in the tide, it's hard to trust it, and it's hard to, not kind of have like one eye open, wondering when things are gonna go around the wheel again, like you're only on top for so long before you get back under it, right? And so I think for you, and it's so cute, like the little ticker here is between the heart and the star, right? That's why I said for some of you, I really think it's like you're getting some kind of wish fulfillment in your love life, but not for all of you. I mean, it could be just something that's really close to your heart, and then like I said, that's provoking that jealousy with this Princess of Cups, who by the way could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but they don't have to be. I feel like the Princess of Cups here is just trying to illustrate for us, or Spirit's way of illustrating for us, that this person lacks emotional maturity, okay? But anyway, I think that's super cute, especially given that it's next to the Star card. Like, what a nice little synchronicity for you. But yeah, I feel like, you're in your own head about it. It's like you're not really fully enjoying the moment of, this good thing that's happened to you, because, you're just kind of worried that it may not last, or can I really trust this? Or, especially if you have to make a big decision about it, it could provoke some anxiety, right? Some second guessing. And I think that's why you may be completely oblivious to the fact that you got a fake friend, or, whoever this person is in your life. It could be a coworker. If this is like career related, it could be a family member even, but yeah, so I don't know, just be mindful of that. Be careful about, and I hate to say that because like no one wants to be paranoid, but I would say like, if this is resonating, if this is clicking, if you have, someone in your life who maybe acts a bit shady or doesn't seem like authentically happy for you, or someone who does like the passive aggressive little digs, to try to etch away, or just tries to undermine you, I guess, and so yeah, I would just say be careful about how much you share with them, what you share with them, and if you have no idea who this is, or you have a thought that it could be more than one person, I would say just keep it as a general rule of thumb to just be careful, be mindful about how much you share, about how open you are. And now also, the second way that I could read this, if you feel like, no, I have really trusting, I have people I can trust, I have loving, supportive relationships in my life, I don't think that this is the case. This could be talking about your own inner self-critic and that kind of imposter syndrome that can happen when something really good happens to us, or we up level in our life in some way, and we're in a new space, a new relationship, a new job position, doesn't matter what it is. Like, let's say like you get accepted to, this is just an example, right? But like, let's say you get accepted into not only your dream school, but maybe like your top 3 choices for university, and then you have to make that really big decision, and it's a good problem to have, but you may be really anxious about it. And then it's like, okay, even when I accept the offer, it doesn't stop there. Like, I still have to get ready for school, I have to register for classes, I have to, you know, then pass those classes to stay. And so it may just be kind of like this snowball effect of anxiety of like, okay, just take one thing at a time and don't focus so much on everything that you have to do in order to honestly like get to the point of graduation, depending upon how bad your anxiety level is, right? So just take it day by day, take it one task at a time, one thing at a time, because I mean, especially too with the star card, this could be talking about being in the spotlight to some degree. And that could be because one person is really focused on you. Like if this is a love connection, you know, maybe it makes you anxious. You know, the new relationship, you worry that you're not good enough, that you're going to mess it up. Or, you know, if it's a workplace thing, your new coworkers, you're worried they're judging you, or you're worried your new supervisor's not going to like you. So you see how this can play out in a lot of ways, but it's all in your head, right? Like, yeah, people may be looking at you, or people may be more focused on you. You may be more in like a spotlight position, but it doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be a chance for everyone to see you fail. It could be a chance for everyone to see you succeed. And so your perspective here really matters greatly. And I think, you know, what we say to ourselves, the way that we speak to ourselves, the way we talk, you know, that internal dialogue really can make a difference, okay? And that message came up in another reading. It could be group 1. It could be an entirely different reading that I filmed. But I feel like that message has come up recently. Okay. Yeah. Because sometimes the 7 of Swords is an internal problem. You know, it's us. It's us stealing our own joy, especially if we can't be connected to the present moment and we're in our head and we're already thinking about all the ways that we can lose the thing that we now have, or the connection that we now have, or the opportunity, right? You know, we can psych ourselves out, we can self-sabotage. And so that's why I said, like, this could be 2 different things. This could be you thinking you're not good enough, and then that being reflected in your external reality because of that self-sabotage kind of deal. Or it could be someone else in your life who, you know, is trying to undermine you and trying to put you down so that they can feel better about themselves. So yeah, just take whichever message resonates. And like I said, if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. The good news here, I will say, for the month of July is that you do have something good. You do have something good. You do have a wish fulfillment, and it's coming into your life, you know, through this like divine intervention. And with the Lovers card here and the Ace of Wands, it's a blessing for a new start. And it's definitely something close to your heart, because the Star card is always a wish come true, right? And with the Ace of Wands next to it, this could be something in relation to like a creative project taking off, but it could also be new love as well, because the expression of love is, I think, partially a creative act, okay? So yeah, just apply it how it resonates, but it's not all bad. It's not all bad. I was a little worried by the hesitancy, I guess, of the cards and the way the deck was behaving. And you know, I don't like to sugarcoat these readings too much. I don't think ultimately that's helpful. But yeah, I'm happy with where this is going now, and I hope you guys feel more comfortable with it as well. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get your 2 major themes for the month of July. Let's go ahead and do that. Sorry, I'm still not like fully happy with the filming setup. Like, it's just not comfortable. I've got to work something else out. But I do like how it kind of looks on the screen, so I don't know. We'll figure it out. And when I say we, I mean me. Okay. Yes, see? Okay, yeah. Now, with this glamour card here, I don't typically read this in a negative light, but this is really like someone is wearing a false mask. Like someone is smiling in your face. Someone is not what they seem for a lot of you with that glamour card, I'm telling you. And for some of you, this could be, you know, you fooling yourself, or you trying to make yourself small, and, you know, kind of shying away from the limelight, because the star card can talk about the limelight. And again, it may just be like you're the center of like one person's focus, and you're pushing them away. If this is love, if it's career, you know, you could be like hiding in your office, you know, trying to just blend in, or you're afraid to speak up in the staff meeting. You know, it can play out in a lot of different ways, right? Letting go. Okay. I think this again still applies both ways. I mean, you're either letting go of this Princess of Cups and saying, you know what, I need space from this person. Maybe I need time apart. Not saying like you may cut them out. You might. For others of you, it may be a situation where you need space to kind of figure out what your boundaries are going to be with them and whether you can move forward. For others of you, this letting go is kind of letting go of those self-limiting beliefs that I think that are holding you back, if you were resonating more with this being like your inner critic. And so, I mean, it's hard, it's tough, but I think ultimately this is necessary, okay? We're going to get some more general messages before we get into some specifics. Group 2. And I'm sorry I haven't uploaded as much this week. I'm trying to have more balance in my life and just, you know, focus on my personal life for a minute. And then, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I do need those little breaks to really be able to come back and be fully present in the readings. We have Magnolia. I love Magnolia because this card here really talks about self-love. And so I think ultimately, no matter what happens in July, or no matter which, you know, because we're talking about two different storylines here. So no matter which story you're resonating with the most, which side of this reading is clicking for you. And I guess it could be both. It could be that you do have a strong inner critic and this person is, you know, taking advantage of that. I just realized that both could be true. Okay. But anyway, regardless, this Magnolia card is telling me you're choosing yourself in the most healthy way possible. You're choosing your mental health. You're choosing your emotional well-being. You're choosing to just step up and take, I think, ownership of your happiness and saying, you know, this is something worth defending. This is something worth protecting. I'm worth protecting. And so I have to make hard decisions sometimes about who I let in my, you know, inner circle. And for others of you, it could be like you stepping up and saying, you know what, maybe I need to see a therapist, or maybe I need to start a different spiritual practice, or maybe I need to make certain lifestyle changes, or, you know, maybe I just need to do things that show myself that I am worthy and valuable. And, you know, that could look like you doing more self-care, or that could look like you doing some self-love exercises to kind of maybe not silence that inner critic, but at least lessen it. Birth of Magic. Yeah, I mean, definitely a new start in July. Some kind of fresh start. And I mean, even this here, this is giving like Empress vibes, right? And then the Ace of Wands. So there's definitely something creative going on in July. And for some of you, you know, that's love. And for others of you, it could be a creative project, or that's in relation to your career. But yeah, I feel like you're just, I feel like it's, you know how sometimes things have to get worse before they get better? Like if you're going to go and clean your room and you want to deep clean it, And so you have to pull everything out so that you can clean under your bed, so that you can reorganize your closet, so that you can get rid of the clutter. You know, you kind of have to pull everything out and take stock and look at it and then sort through everything and clean and tidy it up. And I feel like that's what you're doing mentally and emotionally. So you're like having to kind of address all of these feelings or thoughts that maybe you've had about this Princess of Cups that you've tried to repress. Like maybe your intuition has tried to tell you, hey, like, something's not right with this person. Something's not right with the way that they're responding to you when you have good news. And you've been kind of pushing that down, like, no, they're my friend, or like, no, you know, whatever the case. And this is you kind of really having to come to terms with like the cold hard truth of it. Like, this is who this person is, and this is where they're at in their life, and they're only capable of being happy for me to a certain degree because of where they're at in their life. And that may be not very much, you know? And again, like I don't think it's super malicious. I think a lot of it's subconscious, and I think a lot of it with that Princess of Cups is just that they lack that emotional maturity, or they lack just the capacity, I think, to be happy for someone else, because they're so focused on what's not going right in their life. And so they kind of have that tunnel vision, I guess. And for others of you, you know, if it's that inner critic, you have to kind of sort through, like, where did that self-limiting belief begin, and kind of trace it back to the source, almost, you know, kind of like unraveling, sorry, I am like starting to lose my voice, starting to unravel a mystery, you know, like, where did this, kind of like charting it back, maybe even to childhood for some of you. So, you know, some of you guys are doing some like deep inner like self-healing in July, and then others of you are really taking stock of like, who are you letting in and who are you sharing certain information with. But I think ultimately by the end of the month, you're going to feel so much more secure within yourself. You're going to feel like you have a better relationship with you, which is really positive. I mean, sometimes, I mean, you really do have to just choose yourself in certain situations. You know, certain dynamics just become so unhealthy. You know, it's like, what can you do? Okay. So we're going to get just some love messages, and if you're not interested in this portion of the reading, you can skip ahead, you know, because we're going to get some secret garden messages and some career messages, and then some advice cards too. Okay, so group 2, what's your love life looking like in the month of July? Oh my gosh, you can't make this up, right? Self-love. We've been talking about that with the Magnolia card. Yeah, accepting and loving yourself is key in either attracting or maintaining a healthy relationship. Focus on what makes you unique without comparing yourself to others. You are unconditionally loved by the universe. I feel like that's what you're getting closer to, because you are starting to have that unconditional love for yourself, and that self-acceptance is bringing you closer to source, right? And so you're having a stronger connection to spirit, and that can be a very eye-opening thing. I think when we get closer, and it doesn't matter, you know, whatever terminology you prefer, if it's closer to God, universe, spirit, divine, most high, like whatever terminology you prefer, whoever you pray to, whatever you believe in, this is definitely like an open space, right? But when you get closer to God, to universe, you become a lot more intuitive, and I think it really is like a thinner veil, right? And so I think you see through, for lack of a better expression, through the BS. And so I think in those moments in our life, it can become very illuminating, and it can reveal a lot about who is helping us on our spiritual path, and who is helping us on our self-development journey, and who is really holding us back. And I think that might be part of this as well. Yep, We have psychic connection. Yeah, I mean, just you're honestly, you're in your mystic high priestess kind of vibe for the month of July. Very intuitive. And this can also talk about, with the Lovers card and psychic connection coming up, it could be like a soulmate type of deal for some of you guys. And I think that if it's that heavy, no wonder you're anxious, because you start to have these thoughts that don't really feel like your thoughts, and you may, start to just have like crazy dreams, or you just start seeing signs and stuff, and it can just become a bit overwhelming. And so I think Spirit here, is really trying to advise you to trust your gut and to trust yourself more, especially if you are resonating with that inner critic message, because you really are just so very capable of seeing people for who they are. And I think you're a really great judge of character. I just think that your anxiety about the good stuff that's going on in your life, and that insomnia and that sleeplessness with that Nine of Swords, it's like blinding you to everything else. And so, I think that when you just kind of trust yourself, love yourself more, accept that you deserve good things, that it's okay, and when you get to that point, it's like, well, I'm not being blinded anymore or distracted anymore by my own anxiety. So now I'm taking notice of the other stuff that's going on, and that's that Princess of Cups for some of you. Your bottom of the deck is soulmate, so yeah. For some of you, there could be like a soulmate connection coming in July, or maybe you're already with your soulmate. You're already in a healthy, happy relationship, and maybe that Princess of Cups, like I said, maybe they're in their feelings about it. And by the way, I know it says Princess of Cups, it's just the Page of Cups. It doesn't have to be a woman. The page cards are just like princess in this deck. Okay. We're going to get some more love messages for you. And for some of you, it could be this up-leveling and self-love puts you in alignment to meet your soulmate, okay? So always just take what resonates. Yeah, we have healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. I mean, for some of you, yeah, like I said, it could be a family member. It could be a difficult relationship with a parent. And that's really hard. It's really hard to accept that someone who should love you and support you unconditionally is not really wanting the best for you, or is feeling like that weird competition that's really unnecessary. We have children. Your love life is being affected by children. For some of you, honestly, I'm wondering if this is also potentially a sibling. For some of you, now that I'm seeing the children card here. And for a few of you, if you are a parent watching this, it could be that it's difficult for you to balance taking care of yourself and taking care of your kids. And that's a very specific message, but just as like a side thing, that's one of the fundamentals of caregiving. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup, and it's so true. Like, and it's easier said than done. Like, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of anybody else, because if you're running on zero, that's when mistakes are made, right? Like if you're completely exhausted, you haven't been able to sleep, you've been running on caffeine and nothing else, and you're driving your kids to, I don't know, the park or whatever, how much have you like increased your risk of getting into a car accident because you're exhausted, right? That's a very dramatic example, but you get what I'm saying. And so, I mean, you are deserving and worthy of taking the time to take care of yourself, but I mean, time management when you have kids can feel nearly impossible, right? So just do the best that you can if that's the case. I know, again, that's a very specific message, so if it doesn't resonate, just leave it. But for some of you, That could be something that you're just struggling with in addition to this, especially if you have to make a big decision around an opportunity and you're worried about how is that going to affect my marriage, how is that going to affect my family, my children. Yeah. And I think the advice then would be to listen to your gut on that, follow your intuition on that, and love yourself enough to know that you sometimes do have to make decisions to make yourself happy as well. That your happiness matters just as much as the happiness of your family. And obviously sometimes there has to be a compromise there, but you know, your individual happiness does still matter. You do still matter, okay? All right. Let's see. Let's get some advice cards. And then we'll get into career messages. Group 2 advice for July. And we may just get additional messages. There may be no advice for you. We'll just see. I swear, your cards are just taking longer. You did get the Wheel of Fortune, so there may be something really unexpected happening in July. I'm feeling called to take this. Oh, this came out in Group 1 as well. Something hidden is about to come to light. Perhaps a secret or memory at the back of your mind. When we expose what's hidden, we become free. It's definitely talking about that Seven of Swords, right? For some of you, it could be you uncovering a certain truth about yourself. You know, like I said, maybe some self-sabotage. And sometimes it takes like an outside observer to tell us something about ourselves. Like we can really, truly be blind, you know, to certain aspects of ourselves or the ways in which we have held ourselves back. Sometimes it takes, and especially too, like if you come from a family where you've been put down a lot, and then you have someone else outside of that family dynamic recognize and acknowledge a strength within you, when you have really been put down a lot and you have self-worth issues and that strong inner critic that we keep referencing, it can just be like a light switch going off, you know? It can be a real like aha moment, and it can feel like, oh wow, like someone is finally seeing me for the first time. And so, I mean, for some of you, you know, it's you awakening to the fact that you do have a lot to offer. And for others of you, like I said, it's just revealing how someone has been a bit dishonest with you, overly self-serving. Tree wisdom. Yeah, I feel like it may benefit you in the month of July just to get out of your normal environment. Take a walk outside if you're able to, and just clear your head. Clear your head. I think especially if you were resonating with, you know, those sleepless nights or having some anxiety, just get out and clear your head a bit. Yeah, this moderation card, don't feel bad about this card because this card gets me sometimes too. You know, sometimes we engage in certain behaviors to make ourselves feel better. So, you know, maybe in the month of July, because of all this stress, you're eating a lot of sweets, or maybe you're watching a lot of TV to distract yourself, or, you know, you just don't have the healthiest of habits because of your anxiety or stress, or, you know, just not feeling super great. And like, again, I said, you have good stuff going on. It's just that fear that you're going to lose it, or that person, you know, being a really negative influence. Oh, I like this. Ask for help. Yeah, I mean, just pray on it. You know, in the month of July, ask for help. You know, if you have like really tried, I think, to work through these like emotional or mental blocks that you're having, and you feel like you're not maybe making as much leeway as you would like to, or maybe you just don't know how to start, that can be a big thing too. just pray on it and ask for a sign, and that can help point you in the right direction, you know, of like how to start working through some of this stuff so that you can get to a place of self-love and acceptance. I don't think it's going to hurt to do that in addition, you know, like it's like, yes, you have to do the work. You have to, like I said, like if you were cleaning your room, you have to drag everything out and it looks worse before it gets better. But you can also pray on it as well. You can do both. It doesn't have to be an either or type of deal. I mean, wisdom again. Wow. I mean, I think this is a life lesson kind of month. And I know not everyone wants to hear that, but it's a life lesson, yeah. I mean, you're either learning the truth about another person and how people can be sometimes, or you're learning a lesson about your relationship to yourself. I think, honestly, maybe the good thing that's happening to you in July is what they don't want to say. I feel like they want to keep that under wraps for some of you. It may be a divine timing kind of thing. Let's get some career messages for group 2. Oh, wow. Okay, this card came out twice now, so I definitely need to take it. We have counseling. Some of you will be seeing a counselor. I mean, you know, in the month of July. For others of you, this could be saying, like, especially if you've wanted to work in the mental health field, but you just never have, this could be saying, like, yeah, like, you would be really, really great at that. That's something that you should really try to go for. And for others of you, you may be working as a counselor now or doing something in the mental health field, and this could just be confirmation that, yes, you chose the right group. For some of you, this is actually coming through like counseling to music. This could be signifying that maybe you work like a regular kind of 9-to-5 job, but you've been wanting to do something more creative, or you've been wanting to start a side hustle. Maybe some of you do want to be a musician, or you want to learn an instrument. This could be saying, like, yeah, like, go for it, and you could find success if you choose to take that route. We have light and love, and we have oracle cards here. Oh, I love this so much. Yeah, okay. And for others of you too, like if you are resonating with this being a love message, this could be a career that romantic partner does. So maybe they work in the mental health field, or for others of you, maybe they're a musician, maybe they do something artistic, creative. With oracle cards here, I feel like this is spirit, especially with the light and love card coming next to it. This is spirit saying, like, you're really intuitive. And maybe you should just trust yourself a bit more and trust that gut feeling a bit more, rather than kind of seeking that external validation, even if it's from a tarot reading, you know? Or maybe you should try your own hand at pulling cards because you would be really good at it. You know, whether it's tarot or oracle, whatever you choose to do, or both, maybe you should give it a whirl. Maybe you should try. And I think also, whatever life lesson you're going through, especially because we got so many cards about wisdom, I think what you go through in July is going to be a story that you can tell to help other people. I really feel like you're gonna get what's it, DJ Khaled, when he's like major key? Like, you're gonna get a major key in the month of July. And with light and love, again, I feel like this is a very spiritual month. This is a month of self-love, a month of self-development, of learning a hard life lesson. But I think ultimately it's coming at a time when you're also receiving a blessing. And so it's a mixed bag kind of month. And it's a month where I think you feel really, really grateful, but you also feel really, really scared of losing that thing that you feel so grateful for. And it sucks, right? Like, it sucks when our own mind is tripping us up. And it sucks if we have someone whispering in our ear, you know, trying to manipulate us and make us feel insecure about the blessing, you know? So it's like, gosh, can I just have someone clap for me? Can I just have someone be happy for me genuinely? Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is, you know? I mean, it would be great if people could be genuinely supportive, but not everyone is in that place. I think it was, I don't remember how long ago it was, but I was watching a reading that Tarot was doing one time, and she was discussing the exact same thing, where she was saying, essentially, and you know, she has a bit of a blunt way of speaking that I like personally appreciate, but she was saying, you know, stop expecting that from people. Stop expecting people to be as happy and as excited for you as you are for them, or even expecting them to have the capacity to be as happy and as excited and to care so much about what you're doing as much as you do. Because a lot of times people are just focused on what is going on with them. And is that great when it's family, when it's a close friend? No, that doesn't feel that great. But sometimes you just have to meet people where they're at and accept that it's not personal to you. This is just how they are. And if you take it personally, you're going to feel really, really hurt. Whereas if you just say, you know what, that's who they are. How can I change how I am responding to them? How can I change what I am sharing with them so I can, you know, protect myself and not get hurt in this dynamic? Because that's all you can change is like your perspective, your behavior, how you handle them. You can't change their reaction to you. You can't change their personality or, you know, their level of emotional intelligence or like their empathy level, or I mean, you just can't. If you're waiting for someone to change, you're going to be waiting a long time. So yeah, I think she probably explained it a lot better than I did, but yeah. My heart goes out to you because I've definitely have experienced this a few times in my life, and it's not fun. It's not fun. And when I say I've experienced this, I mean both sides, both stories here. Like I've experienced the tendency to like self-sabotage. I've experienced, you know, someone that I thought was going to be really excited for me not really caring or making it about them, or people kind of, you know how some people too, they can kind of kick you when you're down, or the moment you fail, that's the moment that they really like twist the knife, you know, salt in the wound kind of thing. You know, I've had all of that happen, and it's not fun, you know, but it's part of life, you know. You just have to accept people for who they are and decide whether or not you want to continue that dynamic, or if it's worth the trouble, essentially. Okay. Let's get some secret garden messages, and then we'll use the Astro dice. Be present. Use the hours. Don't count them. We were talking about that, like you struggling with being present in the moment because of that anxiety, because of that fear for the future. Remember how we used the like acceptance into university example? We have change. As with the falling leaves, embrace change. I like how this talks about falling leaves because one of your major themes for the month was letting go. So yeah, I mean, there may be a person in your life that, like I said, like you have to put them on pause, or you have to let go, I guess, of like the hope or the view that you had of them previously. You might have to let go of the relationship that you thought that you had with them. And for others of you, like if you do have to make a big choice about something, embrace that change, you know, be open to it. Be open to the blessing that you're going to be receiving, because you are getting a big blessing in the month of July. I feel like Spirit, again, doesn't want to give a lot of details on that, so I'm not going to push it. Beginnings, yeah. Don't be afraid to start small. Yeah, definitely a new beginning. I mean, you got the Ace of Wands in the beginning, right? You like how I said that. You have a new beginning. You got the Ace of Wands in the beginning. At the start of your reading, you got the Ace of Wands. Okay. Generosity. Sow seeds of kindness. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, too. Just because someone else is being petty in that way, like if you were resonating with that Princess of Cups being, you know, an outside person, I think the best thing for you is just to respond to that energy with kindness. Just accept them for who they are. Decide whether or not you want them around. You know, make your plans accordingly. But, you know, don't let the way that they've hurt you make you bitter or resentful. I feel like that's just going to hold you back. And this is meant to be a happy time of your life. Regardless of whichever narrative you are identifying with, this is meant to be a happy time in your life. So either you need to get out of your own way, or you need to reevaluate whoever that Princess of Cups is in your life. Okay? All right. So let's see. Would help if I kept some of this stuff closer to me. Okay. So we're going to see some potential zodiac signs you could be dealing with in July. So we already, you know, have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. But again, I feel like that could just be Spirit saying they're emotionally immature. Okay. All right. So we have Gemini coming out. That, I mean, you know how, I mean, no offense to my Geminis, but I mean, they do say that about Geminis, right? Like having more than one face, having more than one side. Okay, and now we have Scorpio coming out as well. So Scorpio is now confirmed twice because you did get the Princess of Cups. Sorry guys, I misspoke. I said Gemini. I meant to say Pisces. Now you have Gemini. Okay, that's funny though, because Pisces and Gemini to me are always a little bit connected. Even though we're talking about Gemini's an air sign, it's mutable air. Pisces is two fish swimming in the opposite directions. So I always think of Pisces being like the Gemini of the water signs. So I apologize. I don't know. I'm a bit spacey. I'll be honest. I'm a bit spacey. I've got some things going on in my personal life and I just struggling to focus. But anyway, so you have Scorpio, you have Pisces, you have Gemini. Those are the signs that you could be potentially dealing with in July. Okay. And Scorpios are sneaky. Scorpios can be sneaky. I know I'm saying like all the negative traits of the signs, but I mean, we're talking about someone, I mean, we've been talking about this person who's not really good for you, right? So, I mean, it's probably easier to identify them if we talk about the debilitated traits of that sign. And you know, Pisces can carry an energy of like delusion. And so we were talking about maybe this is like a subconscious thing for this person. Like they think they're being supportive towards you, but really they're undermining you a lot. So yeah, okay. Let's see which areas of your life are significant in July. I think for you guys, we'll get two. All right, we have the 12th house. That's funny because 9 of Swords, like you're not sleeping well. The 12th house is Pisces. It's the house of dreams too. Yeah, I feel like there's something that you're really not seeing and something that is going to be revealed to you. And that could be someone else's like innermost thoughts, especially if you were resonating with that message of someone just not really being supportive of you. And now we have the 6th house. So this makes a lot of sense for me as well because Virgo is associated with the 6th house, and that can be a sign that really is like a perfectionist. And that could be definitely, I think, a sign where someone could have a strong inner critic. Virgo energy can be very analytical in that way. And so this could be talking about like you getting your health right, but I don't think it's physically. I think it's emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you addressing, again, that inner critic. So it's kind of funny, like your houses are essentially echoing and confirming what we've been talking about all along, which is pretty cool. And also at the 6th house, this can talk about your workplace. So for some of you, this could be a career blessing. Okay, so group 2, this was your reading. Definitely wasn't expecting these messages, Thank you for your patience. I know there's been some background noise in your reading, so I apologize for that. Thank you all for your patience, and thank you for dealing with my spaciness today, because I don't know, just issues focusing here lately, but I think it'll get better. I think it'll definitely get better because I'm starting a new job next week. I'm already changing jobs again, I know. But anyway, I'm very excited about it, but it's definitely something in the back of my mind that I keep thinking about, like, you're gonna have to go through orientation all over again, and you know, that kind of stuff when you start a new job. But I'm very excited about the position. I think it's gonna be great. So anyway, group 2, this was your reading. I'm wishing you all the best, and yeah, I will see you in my next one. Please take care. Welcome to your reading. So I've never taken so long to film a single video before. With your group, I'm gonna do a slightly different format, and if you guys don't mind, let me know in the comments if you like this style of reading, because I might do something similar for the August prediction. So I'm still gonna get specific love messages, career messages. We'll get your 2 major themes of the month, and we'll get advice cards just like the other groups. But we're gonna do some rapid fire kind of questions to start off your reading. So that's gonna be the part that's a little bit different, okay? So a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. And of course, Gracie is on the move as soon as I start filming. Okay, so we're gonna find out your best moment of July 2023. What is gonna be your best moment? Okay, sorry about that. I had to feed Gracie really fast. So the first card that came out for you was the 8 of Swords, and I'm gonna get one more card. So the best moment is going to be overcoming something that you thought you weren't capable of. I think that was just my hand slipping. Here we go. Oh, I love this. Ace of Pentacles, yes. Okay, so for some of you, you're overcoming a financial struggle. Maybe you've been unemployed, you've been looking for a job for a while. Maybe for some of you, this is talking about you have applied for university, or you have passed an exam that you were really nervous about, or a class, you know, because the 8 of Swords talks about self-limiting beliefs, right? She could stand up if she wanted to and walk through these swords, right? Like, there's enough space for her to get through. And so it talks about the ways in which, you know, we hold ourselves back sometimes, especially if you've dealt with like imposter syndrome, or, you know, you've dealt with just, you know, not really feeling good enough. This can talk about overcoming that, especially with the Ace of Pentacles here. This is something in your material world, okay? So maybe for some of you, you thought you wouldn't be able, it could even be like you didn't think you could pass your driver's test, you know, depending upon like how old you are. So something in your material world, like you're overcoming some sort of challenge, or you're passing something, or maybe you thought you wouldn't get a promotion, or maybe you thought you couldn't get a higher paying job, or maybe you thought you weren't capable of like living on your own, that sort of thing. So you're surprising yourself in the month of July with something that you're able to accomplish. And again, it's in relation to your material world with the Ace of Pentacles. You know, Pentacles can also talk about our behavior too. So if there's been sort of like an unhealthy habit, like let's say you really want to quit smoking, or you really want to start going to the gym, or, you know, something in relation to that, especially if it's in relation to like your physical health, because Ace of Pentacles can be very like grounded energy. So it could be talking about a positive lifestyle change that you're making that you kind of like had some doubt, right? Like, would I really be able to commit to that new healthy behavior, that new habit? Yes, you will. Okay, so you will see success in that area. Okay, all right. And I am seeing the Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So this could involve like another person just encouraging you and helping you through that process. Okay, now let's see, because we always balance it out, right? What's going to be your worst moment in July? What's going to be your worst moment? Some of you may have a great month and your worst moment may not be that bad. But let's just see. And we're doing all uprights today, I think, unless I feel especially called to take a reversal. We have the Empress, and we have the Four of Pentacles here. Oh, interesting. You know what? I think for some of you, you see how this like little, I guess it's supposed to be a mouse here, or a rat, like is coming and taking her fruit while she's distracted. There may be a moment in the month of July where someone says something to you, or they do something that really gets under your skin and kind of takes you out of your power a little bit. So with the Empress card, this is a very empowered energy typically, right? But if we have it next to this Four of Pentacles, especially with the way it's depicted here, someone says or does something that gets under your skin that kind of shakes your confidence a little bit. So this could be like a snide comment that a coworker makes, or a passive-aggressive type of thing from your friend. You know, it's someone that, you know, is close enough to you to where it kind of irks you, right? Like it has to be someone close enough to you where, I wouldn't say like necessarily like their opinion matters a whole lot, but it's definitely someone that you know well enough to where they can get under your skin. So even if it's just a coworker type of thing, but yeah, and it may just be, especially with it being the Empress, it could be a comment on your physical appearance. It could also be a comment on maybe someone judging you for, oh, you know what? This could be someone kind of shaking your confidence a little bit in regards to that Ace of Pentacles that we just got. So someone could have maybe planted a seed of doubt in your mind about whether you were going to pull off that Ace of Pentacles moment, and that maybe that was what put you in that Eight of Swords to begin with. So maybe someone was like in your ear a little bit, kind of causing you to cast doubt on whether you were going to accomplish whatever that Ace of Pentacles is for you. Just apply it how it resonates. So let's say if you were job hunting and you were wanting to get a better position, a higher paying job, and you know, your coworker finds out that you're looking for a better paying job, and they say, well, you're not going to be able to find anything better than what you're doing now. And so maybe that gets under your skin, puts you in the Eight of Swords, and you start to doubt yourself. You start to question yourself. But thankfully, I mean, it's not going to work, right? Because we do know with your best moment being that moment of triumph, you are going to overcome it. So they could be related for some of you maybe not. For some of you, it may just be like a physical appearance thing. Or, you know, like if you're going to be trying to make like a healthy lifestyle change. I know some people can be really pessimistic, or they can try to bring up your past failures, like, oh, well, remember the last time you tried to do keto, or remember the last time you joined a gym, you never went. And it's like, well, that's not really helpful that you're reminding me of my past failures right now. You know, like I'm trying to do better. And your bottom of the deck is the Nine of Swords. So it might just give you some anxiety, or if it makes you mad, you might just ruminate on it and it causes you like issues with your sleep a little bit. Like, because you know, sometimes someone can say something to us in the moment that really gets under our skin. And if we're not expecting it, if it comes from left field, there can be like a moment of shock. And so it may be something like that to where you wish that you had stood up for yourself in that moment, but it took you kind of by surprise that they would say something like that to you. And then you're like, man, I wish I would have said this in the moment. So it could be something like that. Okay. Let's see your biggest moment of clarity in the month of July. What will you get clear about in July? Let's see. I did see, I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but as I was shuffling, I saw the Ace of Swords for a second. I hope the camera picked that up. I don't know where it went. But the Ace of Swords would be the card of clarity. I don't know if I saw the Ace of Swords or if I saw the Page of Swords, but that's really cute. Anyway, so the Three of Pentacles. This really might be a month of career for you guys. So you may be getting clear about what you want to do, because the Three of Pentacles talks about your work, your talent, your skill level essentially being a cut above the rest, because you can see these other pentacles don't look too great, but look at how beautiful this one is. So you're starting to recognize like your strengths, and you're getting really clear about what you have to bring to the table. And so for a lot of you, this could very easily apply to your professional life. For others of you, this could be talking about love. I mean, if you start to recognize like your positive attributes and what makes you lovable, and if that's something you've struggled with, it's really great to have that clarity. So, you know, I do feel like this is a month where you may start off a bit shaky, but I feel like by the end of July, you're feeling a lot more confident, okay? Which is really great to see. I don't even really feel like we need to get a second card. I feel good about this. Okay. What will you still be confused about during July? Oh wow, that came out so fast. Two of Pentacles. Oh, okay. There may be something, there may be a moment in time where you have to choose between two offers, or where you still are struggling maybe with trying to balance your time, especially for those of you who are starting like a new hobby, starting a sort of lifestyle change that we were talking about. You know, I could have mentioned that in the beginning too when we were talking about your best moment. You may be starting something like maybe you want to learn, I don't know, maybe you want to learn how to knit and you're like a little bit intimidated to start, and then you find out you actually have a knack for it. So anyway, it could be talking about a new hobby as well. I should have mentioned that. But yeah, I feel like you're still trying to figure out how to balance your time, still trying to navigate some time management. And you know, sometimes that can happen when good stuff comes into our life. You know, if we start a new job, we may have a new schedule, or if we get promoted, we may have more responsibilities at our job, and then you know, we have to learn how to balance that with still socializing with our coworkers and still having like work-life balance and that kind of thing. So yeah, it could be that. It could also be you deciding between two really good offers, which will be really nice for those of you who are job hunting and you were resonating with that message. Okay, we'll get one more card. Why not? Seven of Swords. Okay. This card in particular always reminds me, if you guys have heard it, Phoebe Bridgers has a song, it's called Moon Song, and she says, "You're holding me like water in your hands," which is not very well, right? Like you're not really a reliable person. I can't depend upon you. You know, I can't rely on you to catch me when I need you to catch me. You will always drop the ball, right? If you're holding me like water in your hands. There's no support there. There's no understanding there. And you see this here, right? But she is still watering this flower. And I think for some of you, this could be referring to if there is a connection in your life where you feel like they're putting you down, they're getting under your skin, if you are resonating with that message when we were talking about your worst moment, I like how all of these are connecting because I wasn't expecting that. If you are resonating with that message, and I want to say group 2 had a little bit of that, but it's been kind of a minute since I filmed that reading. But if you're having a moment like that, I think it might be difficult for you because there are some ways in which that connection is supportive, but there may be other ways in which it's hurting you. Because you can see here, like, this is sort of like a metaphor here for a connection that is not mutually reciprocal or not mutually supportive. Like, it may have some good attributes to it. It may benefit your life in some ways, but ultimately it is still a connection where you give more than you get back. And so you see the pains that she's taking to water this flower, and yet here the thorns are cutting her, right? So there are some ways in which you're pouring into this person, you're giving to this person what you can, but they are still hurting you. Okay, so, you know, for some of you, it may be sort of like, you know, like having to weigh the pros and cons, like how much is this connection adding to my life and how much is it hurting me or harming me? Is it damaging my mental health, my emotional well-being, my self-esteem? So those questions may come up. And with that 7 of Swords here, it's also a question of trust. And for some of you, this could be talking about your relationship to yourself. You know, how bad is that imposter syndrome? Yeah, I want to say group 2 had a flavor of that. I want to say that. And I do feel like that's a more specific message. But it did come through, so I wanted to mention it. Okay. 8 of Pentacles, though. I mean, you guys, like, if you were really hoping for some improvement in your professional life, I really feel like July is the month for that. Okay, let's see what your main focus is going to be, your personal main focus. This isn't what Spirit wants you to focus on. This is just what is going to be your focus. So what is taking up the majority of your mental real estate in July? Oh, everything. I love this World card. I love this World card. No wonder you're struggling with time management in July, because you have your hands in a lot of different pots. You have a lot of stuff cooking. You have a lot of good stuff going for you, or you're at least trying to gain more momentum in your life. And I think it's funny too, because with the World card, especially with the way it's depicted in this particular deck, there's an element here of like wanting to feel carefree, wanting to feel like the weight of the world has actually been lifted from your shoulders, right? Wanting to feel a sense of, I'm settled here, I feel a sense of completeness, I feel a sense of fulfillment. Like, that's what you're striving for. And so I don't feel like you're fully there yet in July, but I feel like eyes on the prize, you know? Like, that's where, this is what you're dreaming of. This is what you want. You want to have like this beautiful sort of home life. You want to have enough like financial security to have like a nice, both I think like the luxury of this, like, oh, she's got like this beautiful spread, this nice picnic, maybe she's on vacation, maybe she lives on the water, right? Like, it does speak to like financial abundance, right? But then there's also the luxury of time. The luxury of time. And that can cost as well, right? Like, so maybe for some of you, like, you want to have enough financial freedom to where you have the luxury of time. You don't have to work so hard for so little. So you want to be well compensated for your time so that you don't have to work so much, okay? So that's what your focus is on. I think, honestly, that's a really great headspace to be in, like, striving for almost just like peace of mind. Again, like that sense of like, I feel settled here, I feel at home here, I feel like things are right. Like, I don't have to worry or question so much about the path that I've taken. I feel good about my journey and I feel good about where I'm at. Okay. And it makes sense. I mean, if you've been in the Eight of Swords and you've been doubting yourself, it makes so much sense to me that that would be what you're craving. Okay, let's see what you are trying to leave behind, or what you're trying to distance yourself from in July. And this, you know, doesn't have to be, this doesn't have to be a conscious thing. We've got the Ten of Pentacles. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Four of Cups. How perfect is, like, the combination of these two cards. You want to free yourself, I think, from financial worry, for sure. You also want to free yourself, though, from, I think, a fear of, because, I mean, wealth isn't just money, right? It's about our connections. It's about our sense of community. It's about our sense of identity. It's about how comfortable we feel, how content we feel with our life. And so I think, especially too, like you notice here, like she has enough to share, and these mice are sharing with her, and she's aware of this, and she's sharing with them. And so I feel like for a lot of you, it's like, not only do I want to feel comfortable financially, but I want to leave behind like any connections that are draining my energy, or connections that are you know, like not mutually beneficial. And so it's like, I want to have enough to be able to share with the people that I love, but I want to get something back too. Because some of you are probably very giving people, and that unfortunately can lend itself to people taking advantage of you without appropriate boundaries. And even when you do have boundaries, I mean, people will test and test and test you, right? To a point to where it's just not sustainable in terms of the relationship itself. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a sense here of like, I want to be around good people where I don't feel like I have to prove my worth, and I don't feel like I have to earn anything. Like I don't have to earn love. I don't have to earn respect. I don't have to prove sort of my value, or where, yeah, like the love and the support isn't so conditional. Because I feel like for some of you just feel like a bit forgotten in that way, or like you're at the bottom of someone's priority list, but they expect you to put them at the top, sort of thing. So yeah, you want to get away from this, from the discord, from the conflict. Okay. Even like at the bottom of the deck, Nine of Swords, like whatever is causing you like sleepless nights, whatever is causing you anxiety and stress, like just want to be done with that. Okay. What will you be grateful for in July? And this could be like a moment. This could be something new coming into your life. The clarity. I knew I saw the Ace of Swords before. The clarity. Yeah. That moment of clarity. That realization of your worth and what you have to offer is going to be, I think, the biggest blessing for you. Wow. Yeah. You're going to be really grateful, I think, that you have an idea of how to get to this place. Like before, maybe you had no sort of clue like what was going to help you get to this place, or sort of like the roadmap. And it's like, finally, I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. I'm making the right decisions for me. And so there's just less questioning, less doubt. I mean, how hard is it to walk a path and to question every single step that you take? How much slower are you going to move on that path if you're questioning every step versus you moving confidently in the direction of whatever is going to bring you this emotional fulfillment, this feeling of being carefree? She doesn't have a care in the world, right? And she's very, I mean, there's so much here too. And I love this deck for the amount of detail that it has, because the way that she throws her hat here into the air, and the way that she has one foot in the water here. So there's a balance here, or a harmony here, between what is going on in her mind versus what is going on in her emotional life. And that's the space that you're wanting to be in. And you're going to be really grateful that you have at least an idea of how to get to this place. Okay. What can you do without? What can you do without in the month of July? Knight of Cups. Okay, so possibly a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces person. But let's just clarify this Knight of Cups. Four of Pentacles. This card is coming out for you again. Ace of Cups. Okay. Someone, again, I feel like is really coming in. Because, you know, the Ace of Cups can talk about self-love. It can talk about self-love. I feel like there is someone who, and it may not be like a conscious thing, but there may be someone who is trying to, I want to say undermine your sense of self-worth. Okay, you really might need to watch group 2 because I feel like this message came out in group 2. If it was group 1, I apologize, but I want to say it was group 2 that had a similar message. Someone may also be trying to take away an opportunity from you because the Ace of Cups can talk about an opportunity, but it would be something close to your heart, okay? So there may be someone trying to kind of come in and take away this blessing from you for whatever reason. So like, let's say like you've really had your heart set on getting a promotion and maybe your coworker is trying to undermine like your self-esteem or is trying to like discourage you from even like applying for the promotion or is bad-mouthing you to your supervisor. This is just a very basic kind of example, but just to give context as to how this could potentially play out. Even with like the little sword here, the little dagger, makes you think of someone stabbing you in the back. I mean, you did get the 7 of Swords earlier, and that is the card of someone stabbing you in the back. So, I mean, it may not be a massive betrayal, but it's definitely something, again, like I could have done without this experience. Like, are they serious right now? Yeah, so it could be a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. It could just be an emotionally immature person. Yeah, very similar, actually, I think, to group 2. And for some of you, I mean, this could be like, I could just do without having this feeling of insecurity. So, you know, if the imposter syndrome is really bad, we can harm ourselves, right? Okay. What lesson are you going to learn in July? If there is a lesson to be learned. There is, because that card came out really fast. If I was going to have to shuffle for a while, I was going to nix that question. I love this so much because your bottom of the deck is the 7 of Pentacles. And no judgment here because this is a lesson I feel like I perpetually struggle with. So with the 10 of Wands, remember we were talking about you potentially having an issue with time management. This is what it is. And it's not from like laziness or procrastination on your part. It's I've got my hand in too many pots here. Like I'm trying to do too much all at once. And I'm kind of struggling with how to navigate all of these responsibilities, plus my obligations to myself, to take care of myself. And then in terms of like your social life, you know, we all have social obligations, right? So it may be your friends, your family, your pets. Yeah, I feel like you're struggling to balance it all. You're taking on too much, and you're gonna have to either like reprioritize things, say no to certain things, or lighten your load, ask for help, all of those good things. And for some of you too, especially with the 7 of Pentacles being your bottom of the deck here, it's like understand that this takes time. And so don't overwork yourself to the point of burnout because you want immediate results. Understand that it takes time. And anything worth having takes time. Like it doesn't even matter. Like even if it's a romantic thing that we're talking about here, even if it's a relationship, we always say like build a solid foundation first, right? Like even in love, I mean, how tricky can it be if you rush things, right? So I think don't be so focused on the outcome. Just take things one step at a time as best as you can. As best as you can. And understand that, like, you don't have to see the full path ahead. You don't have to see the full staircase to, like, take each step. It kind of reminds me, there's a quote by some author, and they were talking about how you write a novel. And they were saying, like, you don't have to know the full plot. You really don't. Like, when you sit down to write a book, you don't have to know exactly what's going to happen. You can write a character-driven story. You can allow the character to lead you where the story is meant to go. You only have to see as far ahead as... And they used this metaphor of, like, if you're driving on a dark road, all you have to do is see as far ahead as your headlights will allow you to. And you can do that the whole way and make it safely there. You don't have to be able to see the entire road. You only have to see as far as your headlights go, and eventually you will get to where you're meant to go. So the same thing with writing a story. And it's the same thing in your life too. Like, you don't have to know the final outcome. You can just trust and do your best and take one step at a time. And with the Seven of Pentacles too, like, I've been thinking a lot about that card lately. But you know, with the Seven of Pentacles, like, if you think about farming, there's no guarantee that you're gonna have a great crop yield, right? Like, there's no guarantee that you're gonna have a good harvest season. But you still get up and you still plant those seeds and you still do everything within your power to have a good harvest. But there are good years and there are bad years. And you kind of just have to roll with it and trust the process and still try, right? Okay. What's your biggest takeaway from the month of July 2023? Your biggest takeaway. Wow, that came out really kind of forcefully. Oh, the Queen of Pentacles. You guys, like, I'm so happy for you, because I feel like if there's been, like, just ongoing insecurities or just like a sore spot for you guys, anything in relation again to your material world. So it could be like your physical body, could be your behavior, it could be your financial situation, your professional life, your academic life. But if there's any sort of insecurity there, anything that you have really, really struggled with, you are coming into a place of self-empowerment. You're coming into a place of, like, understanding, like, you have the ability to resolve whatever issue is there. And the good news too is, like, if there is anybody, like, whispering in your ear, like, just trying to, like, passive aggressively or just make, like, rude kind of comments to you, trying to dig at you a little bit, it's not going to work. They're not going to be successful at that. Okay? All right. What is bringing you joy in the month of July? What is bringing you joy? Ace of Wands, okay. Ooh, and the Magician, okay. So some of you, this could be talking about starting a creative project, or like, maybe if you've had, maybe you are trying to write a book. If you've had, like, writer's block, or if you are really resonating with that idea of, like, yeah, I wanted to start a new hobby, but I'm kind of afraid that I'm going to fail at it or that I'm not going to be any good. This is really encouraging you to, like, go for it, because it's going to be a real source of happiness. For others of you, this could be talking about you starting something that's going to bring a lot of passion into your life, and could be starting sort of like a whole new adventure or a new chapter in your life. So for some of you, this could be referring to love. We will get more specific love messages, but it would definitely be like a passionate romantic connection for sure. And it could be, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius energy coming through as well with this. Some of you, this could be referring to, like, wanting to start your own business as well, or like a side hustle. Yeah, because your bottom of the deck is the Ten of Pentacles. So this really could talk about, and remember how I said wealth is more than just money? That's this card all day long. Like, that's one of the main messages of this card. Like, they have the financial security. And this is actually the Queen and the King of Pentacles here together. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But yeah, so this can talk about like a happy, healthy home life, family life, marriage. Like, this can talk about having just a supportive community of people, especially if you're going to be starting a creative project or starting a new business. This could talk about a healthy, mutually beneficial relationship between like your fan base or your customer base and the service that you're providing or the content that you're creating. And yeah, like I said, financial security to the point to where you have enough, but you also have enough to share and enough to take care of the people that you love. But also having people that you love and that love you right back is in of itself wealth and abundance. And so for some of you too, like, this could be a manifestation, a wish, or a prayer being answered for you through you taking action on something. Because the Ace of Wands is definitely a card that is action based, because fire energy in and of itself is our will, is our drive. Okay. And your bottom of the deck is still the Seven of Pentacles. So what you are putting energy and intention and action towards will end up being a source of great abundance, I guess, in your life. Okay. Now we've talked about like what is bringing you like excitement and joy. So let's talk about what is calming you down in July. What is a point of like serenity for you? What are you making peace with? What is bringing you a sense of like, ooh, Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups and the Queen of Cups. What a beautiful combination here. If there's any point of indecision, if there's any, and we did talk about you potentially having to choose between two different options, right? And that was way earlier in your reading, so if you don't recall, you may have to rewind a bit. But with the Seven of Cups here, if there's any sort of indecision or dissatisfaction with a certain thing, you are sort of at peace with whatever you are ultimately deciding because you're going with your heart. It's the Queen of Cups. Like, she's going with her heart, she's going with her intuition on it. And I think especially if you were in an energy of like second guessing yourself, doubting yourself, you're going to feel so good about getting to this place. So good. Okay. So now we're going to get some love messages for you. Oh no, I lied. First, we're going to get your two major themes of the month for July. Two major themes for group 3. You can't make this up. I mean, how many times have we talked about you feeling more confident, this being like a month of like self-empowerment, overcoming that Eight of Swords? I mean, how beautiful is that? For your first card to be the Eight of Swords, and now we're seeing confidence. Because that's all it is with the Eight of Swords, is believing in yourself, not limiting yourself, not letting those self-limiting beliefs hold you back. And let me tell you, that's a tricky energy. Like the Eight of Swords, there have been so many times in my life where, and I'm an overthinker just naturally, but there are so many times in my life where I thought there wasn't a way out of a situation. I had convinced myself that I knew that no matter what I decided to do, this was going to be the outcome and it was going to be negative, so I was just stuck. And every single time in my life where I thought, or I had tricked myself into believing that I was stuck, or that if I made a certain decision, everything was going to fall to pieces, guess what? Sometimes it did fall to pieces, and sometimes it was a tower moment. But what ultimately happened is I had space to rebuild. And every single time I thought I was stuck, I actually did have the power to get myself out of that situation. It just involved a level of faith. And that's hard, right? Like, it's so hard when everything, I think, is set up in our society to tell us to be practical. But the biggest, the biggest turning points in my life where I've been able to go from a really negative, horrible situation to a very positive and abundant situation has been when I've had just blind faith, both in myself and in the universe to help me out, to have my back, because otherwise I would have stayed with the devil that I knew. Because there is a level of safety in that. Even when we're miserable, at least there's familiarity there. You know? And so, I don't know, if there's a situation in your life where you really feel like you can't see a way out, look at it again. Just try to look at it again, because there might be a way out that you're not seeing, or that you have convinced yourself is not an option just because the idea of taking that initial step is so terrifying. And I'm not pretending to know like your exact situation. This isn't, coming from a place of like, you need to do this. It's just coming from a place of like, if you are in that space, I've been there myself, and I wish someone had said that to me. And I actually had a friend once who said that her mom would always say to her, okay, what is the worst possible thing that could happen? And it's funny because when I was in my master's program for social work, they would have one of like the therapeutic sort of questions they would say was the miracle question. Like what would it be like to wake up tomorrow and have everything be perfect? What would that look like? And I understand the benefit behind that question, but quite honestly, like myself and most of my classmates never really found that question very helpful when practicing therapy. And I've tried using it on myself and I haven't found much benefit to it. But it's funny because my friend's mother had the exact opposite approach. And it's like, well, what would it actually look like if everything did fall to pieces? What would that look like? What would your next steps be? And when you envision like the worst possible outcome, it kind of takes away its power a bit. When you have the guts to say, or to sort of stare down the image of that, like mentally, and you think, oh, well, if the worst that could happen is this, and I can sort of imagine or think about how I would go about responding to that, maybe it's not as bad as I think. You know, like there is, I think, a lot of power in facing your fear and just being able to acknowledge what the fear is. What is the underlying fear? Is it a fear of failure? Is it a fear that you're not lovable? Is it a fear that you're not good enough? Just something to think about, okay? All right. Very happy to see this for you. Okay, second major theme. Oh man, look at all this orange. I love this for you. Good cheer, good times. Yeah, you're really getting your groove back, okay? You're getting your happiness back. And even your bottom of the deck is wisdom. I think that you are, and we were talking a lot about you actually having a really good moment of clarity when it came to your self-worth. So I like to see that for you. Some of you too. I mean, we did have the Empress and now I'm seeing all this orange. Maybe some of you are getting more comfortable as well with like your sexuality. That could be, it's a more specific message, but it did come through for some of you. Yeah. I feel like it's also kind of this energy of starting to understand and own the idea that you deserve happiness, that happiness is your birthright, that you have a right to be here, that you're not a burden, that you're not, you have, again, like, you know, I think finally what you bring to the table, whether it's romantically, in friendships, with your family, professionally, like, you know what you have to offer. Even like how she's sitting here, like, what is she offering? And how can you give more to yourself, I think, as well. Yeah, I definitely think a lot of this has to do with you improving your relationship with yourself. And you taking whatever steps are necessary to make that happen. I love this for you so much. I really do. Okay, let's get some love messages. Group 3 love messages for my group 3s. We'll get, I think, 2 more cards because I know everyone has a different sort of love situation going on. Okay. So if you're single, and your bottom of the deck is time to say goodbye. If you're single, part of, I think, what is leading to you being single and you not aligning with your divine counterpart, whatever that means to you. I mean, some of you may believe in soulmates, some of you may just be wanting to be with the person that you're going to marry, or a life partner, your forever person, or you just want someone who's going to treat you right. You know, like whatever it is that you're seeking. What may be delaying that, or what may be blocking that from coming into fruition into your life, may be that you are still kind of carrying the emotional weight from someone who hurt you in your past, someone who made you feel like you were unlovable. And that doesn't have to be an ex. I mean, that could come from childhood. I mean, a lot of our romantic relationships and our, I guess, the dynamic that we end up replicating in our romantic partnerships comes from our relationship with our parents, especially our mother. And so, you know, for some of you, that could be what is sort of delaying this, and that may be what you're overcoming in July. Like if you have this fear that you're unlovable, the fact that you are developing a better relationship with yourself, you're becoming more confident, more empowered, that would be resolving this delay, this block, which would be putting you on the path towards aligning with your divine counterpart, which is really beautiful and something definitely to get excited about, because 30, 31 days, however many days there are in July, that's not that long. And that's major growth. Okay. For others of you, okay, let's say that you are in a committed partnership right now. This could be talking about maybe being, I want to say like a little bit out of sync with your partner. And that's not to say that there's like some sort of like huge, horrible argument, but it could just be an issue in communication where, you know, there's just outside influences, like maybe their work is really stressful and so you guys just don't have enough time to spend together as you would like to. Or again, we were talking a lot about time management. Maybe you're just struggling with making time for your partner, and that's just something that you're going to be navigating throughout the month. So like nothing horrible, right? Like nothing too horrible, but it's like adjustments need to be made here. That's the energy. Okay. For those of you who are just dating, like you're not completely single, or maybe you're just in like a situationship type of thing, it could be that you have like one love offer that is a divine counterpart, and you have another love offer where it's like this unrequited love, like this person's not going to be able to give you what you need and you have to make a decision, but you struggling to make that decision is delaying you being with that divine counterpart. So just take what resonates. Okay, let's look at your career messages now. And for some of you too, with this being your bottom of the deck here, time to say goodbye, some of you may really just need to release, like break up. You know, if you have a really bad partnership right now, you may need to break up with your partner to get to this divine counterpart union. Or for some of you, it's just an emotional, energetic tie to your ex that's causing this delay or this block from you having a divine counterpart union, okay? All right. Let's look at career messages now. I feel like we've talked a lot about your career, but let's just see if there's any like lingering messages from Spirit, or something Spirit feels like I just haven't covered. Oh, I love this. Okay, I love this so much. So for some of you, like if you are actively looking for another job, or you want to do something different within your current field, or if you want to make a complete and total change in your career and what you do to make money, this is saying like you are protected. Or if you're thinking about going back to school, like whatever decision you make for yourself, make sure it's one that is led by, I guess, sort of like your heart or your intuition rather than your fear. Like, don't limit yourself, don't settle. But as long as you are following, I think, your intuition on this, you know, going with what you feel is going to bring you that emotional fulfillment and that sense of security that you've been wanting, you are going to be supported. I just like this card because it feels like, to me, the universe is saying, like, we have your back. Like, we're rooting for you. Like, we're cheering you on. You're not walking this path alone. Like, we will assist you as much as we can. And, you know, you got to remember, too, like, I really feel like, and this is just, I guess, my personal belief on this, but I really feel like the universe only intervenes to a point, you know, and how much intervention are you open to? Because I do feel like there are moments where we can pray and we can ask for the universe to intervene or to help us, but I also feel like there are times when, I guess and it may deal more with like your personality, but if you're someone who likes to have more control or the illusion of control, I feel like the universe is respectful of that. You know, like I do feel like whoever is in your spiritual team, like maybe some of you work with your ancestors, or some of you, you know, may work with angels, or, you know, everyone has different beliefs, right? Some of you just may ask your spirit guides for help, whatever terminology you resonate with, whoever you pray to, whatever you believe in. I try to keep these readings as open as possible because I know there's a lot of you watching. And, you know, I mean, like, I personally sometimes just pray to my great grandma who has passed away. I'll ask her to send me a sign on something, but yeah, I mean, whoever you pray to, if you ask them for help, I feel like they would intervene, but you have to ask for it. Like, I don't feel like they would overstep. I don't feel like they would intervene too much, unless it's like a fated kind of thing. But yeah, I feel like they kind of hold back, but when you ask for help, they're there. That's the dynamic that I'm picking up with your spiritual team, whoever comprises that team, okay? But it does feel like a team to me. It does feel like you have more than one divine entity, I guess, helping you, if that makes sense. Okay. Let's just get, I don't know, I'm hearing like 2 more cards, so we'll honor that and just see. We got spiritual teacher. And we have children. Okay. So some of you, I mean, these could be talking about potential career paths. Like maybe you want to work with children, or maybe you want to do something spiritual. Maybe you want to start reading tarot cards, whatever, you know. It could be referring to that. But I think for a lot of you, this is saying, again, like if you need to ask for guidance, if you need to ask for help, this would be the month to do that. This would be the month to pull your own cards, or this would be the month to get a private personal reading. Like this would be the month to pray on it if you needed to, you know, or whatever spiritual practice you do. This would be the month to seek that guidance, because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like this is kind of a month where you and Spirit are both on the same page in terms of what your purpose is. And Spirit is like, yes, they finally got it. They finally know it. Now we can throw like the full weight of our support behind them, because they are on the right path. We're no longer having to like course correct them anymore. And with children, this could be talking about something you wanted to do ever since you were a kid. It really could go that far back for some of you. Or it could also be talking about you doing something creative that kind of helps you tap into the part of your mind that maybe you haven't used since you were a kid. So like your imagination. And I think also just the belief that, because, you know, when we're kids, we don't have such a limited perspective on what we can accomplish. So like a kid will say, I want to be an astronaut, and they won't really think twice about how they're going to make that happen. So I feel like that's kind of the level of confidence you're stepping into. It's like, yeah, I can do it. Sure, why not? I want to be an astronaut. Let's make it happen. You know, that kind of thing. Okay. And even your bottom of the deck here is options. You know, and we were talking about you possibly having to make a decision or having to choose between 2 good offers. So for some of you, it could be that you have the option to stay in your current position in terms of your career, and you get another offer, or you could get 2 new offers. So you see, it could play out in different ways. All right, let's just get some advice cards, and this will wrap up your reading. So don't forget to let me know in the comments if you like that sort of rapid fire kind of general overview of your month, or if you prefer the more like traditional way that I do it. I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. And even if you say that you like it, it doesn't mean I'm always going to do the monthly predictions, you know, in that way. I may just do August like that and then go back to the other way and just kind of mix it up a bit. Okay. Sorry, that was loud. We have Creative Charlie. I'm laughing because I feel like we've talked a lot about creativity in your reading too. Oh, Thinking Thork. Yeah, I feel like the advice here for you in the month of July is really sort of to balance out, you know, it's sort of like balancing out sort of the swords energy, like your mental sort of process with that fiery imagination, you know, that action, that creativity that we were talking about. And your bottom of the deck is Spiritual Sally, which makes me think of the Cups energy, right? And balancing out what your heart wants, what your intuition is telling you. So I feel like, you know, these things are existing in harmony for you in the month of July. And so I feel like the advice here is to just keep up, I guess, with that momentum, because you're on to something here. They're telling me you're on to something. Like, and it's funny too, if you look at the eyes of the cats, like here her eyes are closed, right? She doesn't have to see it to believe it. She doesn't have to see the path forward, right? She's just guided by her intuition. And that's a very personal, internal thing, right? And so she has faith. She has faith. Whereas Thinking Thork here, eyes straight forward. You know, like we're moving forward with the path here. And we're being practical. We're looking at the pros and cons of a situation. And you see how Creative Charlie is kind of like side-eyeing these 2 cats here. And so I feel like it's almost like this is your energy. Like, you know, there may be something, because you did get the Ace of Wands, so it could be, again, like you want to start your own business, or you want to start a creative project, or you want to move forward with one, or start a new romantic partnership, that kind of thing. Creativity can like manifest itself in so many different ways in our life, right? And it can even talk about, again, like your physical appearance, like wanting to change something physically about yourself. And that can be a creative expression as well, right? Like changing up your style, that sort of thing. So it's like, this is you, and you're sort of looking at it like, do I approach it like this, or do I approach it like that? And there may be like a little bit of push and pull between having faith and trust and just taking that leap of faith versus thinking it through, and sort of having like this aha moment of like, oh, there is a middle ground here. I can do both. And that in and of itself is what gives you the confidence to take action. This yellow is making me think of Leo energy. And like I said, fire sign energy is very willful. It's very action oriented. And so I almost feel like going with your gut on things is almost like a halfway point between these 2 modes of thinking, or these 2 modes of being, I guess I should say, because it is part intuition, but it's also part like, does this feel right to me? And I think that can sometimes come from our mind as well. Like, if we have a bad feeling about something, it could be because our mind is telling us like, I don't know about this. And if our mind is saying that, that can give us some anxiety, and that can make us sick to our stomach. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is that mind-body connection, and Spirit is saying like, you can have that work in your favor, or you can have it work against you. And so why not have it work in your favor? Why not listen to what your body is telling you, but also listen to those sort of automatic thoughts that we tend to take for granted, or that we tend to not notice. And so pay more attention. Like, for example, if you are spending time with a certain person and after they leave, take a moment to notice how you feel. Do you feel drained? Do you feel energized? Is there tension in your shoulders? Is your body relaxed? When they left, was your automatic thought, oh, thank goodness they're gone? Or, I finally have time to myself? Or was, man, I wish they would have stayed a little bit longer? You know, like, just take notice of that. Or if that person sends you a text message, do you get tense before you read it? Or are you excited to open it to see what they said? So that's just obviously like an example of how this could play out, but I feel like Spirit is saying, like, take notice of your automatic thoughts, take notice of the cues of your body, and understand it doesn't have to be an either or kind of thing. And it shouldn't be. You shouldn't always be led by your intuition and your faith, right? And you also shouldn't always be led by your logical, rational mind. There's a time and a place. And there's a need for balance between the two to be successful, just the same way that there's a need to balance the divine feminine energy and the divine masculine, right? We have to be able to do both. Okay, so group 3, this was your reading. I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for letting me do this for you. Please take care. I'm wishing you the very, very best July. And yeah, thank you for your patience with me uploading this reading. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next one.